afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. You have Alyssa Coram here, and I am joined by Ken Shreve. We're going to get to today's action in the broad market, but Ken, give us a rundown of the exciting stocks that we're going to be checking in on. Oh, we've got you muted today, but we are going to be taking a look at a recent IPO.
Rocket
Addition to what?
Mortgage.
Yeah.
Yep. And Rocket Mortgage broke out of an IPO base today. We're going to take a look at a good bullish up session for Alibaba and also take a look at Amazon, which is still trying to break out of a flat base.
Fantastic. Well, first, let's check in on the major indexes. The Nasdaq opened really powerfully, a big gap up, faded throughout the day, though, managed to close the day with a gain of 0.6%. The Dow led the session, up about 1.4%. The S&P 500 up 1%. So it felt like a little bit of rotation here today. Ken, what are your thoughts?
Well, that's definitely what happened. I mean, you had it was another day of a lot of beaten down industry groups rallied. You had airline stocks outperforming. You had energy stocks, and you just had a lot of beaten down groups that were in the driver's seat, and a lot of selling in the software sector. Again, the Nasdaq was up about 1.3% intraday. It went all the way back to break even. I think it was even lower for a little while, but managed to get a pretty decent close, right close to the middle half of its range. But you can see how high the Nasdaq traded today. It actually got close to the top of an upper channel line. We can kind of draw a line and connect the recent highs for the Nasdaq, and it's it's pretty close to the top of that upper channel line. So we're kind of playing a little defense here and taking a look at some big winners and maybe thinking about taking some money off the table.
Yeah, exactly. On IBD Live, we talked about how we're really accelerating upward here, looking at long-term channel lines as well. So definitely something to keep in mind. But we did see some bright spots today, one of which being Rocket Companies behind Rocket Mortgage, ticker RKT, a very strong day, up over 12%. And at IBD, we always like to keep a pulse on the IPO market because they can be a source of some pretty significant gains.
Yeah, no doubt. Rocket Companies made a very solid move today. This is just a classic IPO base. It's not very long. It just consolidated for several days and then broke out over its recent high of 26.85. So the buy point here was 26.95, but good solid move for Rocket. Has a great underwriter. Goldman Sachs brought this company public earlier this month on August 6th. Obviously, a huge player in the mortgage business, refinancing. Probably seen their ads all over television. But the thing about Rocket is that they're very profitable already. So they're making money and they have big revenue growth in recent quarters. So this is definitely an IPO to watch, especially in light of a breakout today.
Yeah, and we do have earnings, it looks like, right around the corner. And the thing is, though, Ken, wouldn't you say if you weren't able to get into it today, you don't want to be chasing it, especially with earnings pretty close around the corner?
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll be getting their first earnings report as a publicly traded company, like you said, over the next several days. But yeah, it's kind of tricky right now, and the market has run up so much since April. Kind of buying base breakouts is maybe getting a little trickier than it was, say, back in mid to late April, when a lot of these stocks were coming out of bases and have turned into big market leaders. So it's a risky buy here ahead of earnings, but technically probably still in that 5% buy zone from the 26.95 buy point.
Yeah, we'll have to see what action tomorrow brings for this stock. And moving on, let's check in on Alibaba, following up on our discussion of it last week when it cleared a bit of an aggressive entry, now above that traditional buy point, above the 268 level, gaining almost 4% today. And this is one of our long-term leaders, so continuing to gain here with that quarterly earnings report out of the way.
Yeah, we had to follow up with Alibaba today because this is just a good classic example of what a breakout from a flat base looks like. We mentioned it on Friday's show because it ended up being Friday just a good setup day, and then the stock gapped up powerfully in above average volume. Again, the buy point 268.10, and I think it was last Thursday when we heard from Alibaba. You can see they reported a 30% rise in revenue, earnings up 15%. So both of those numbers were acceleration from the prior quarter. So it was a pretty solid quarter. The stock really didn't move much on earnings, but then big move Friday and some good follow through today. So this is another stock that is still in the 5% buy zone, and of course you've got earnings out of the way. So this one is it's not too late.
Looking pretty good. And last but not least, Amazon, also on our radar today, tried to get to new high ground, hit a little bit of resistance there, closed up about 0.7%, but it's been closing pretty tight here the last couple of sessions. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean the Amazon basically looked like the Nasdaq today. Like I said, the Nasdaq Composite was up 1.3% intraday, and probably during the first half hour of trading, we just saw a big wave of selling. A lot of growth stocks started to head lower, maybe some profit taking. So Amazon wasn't able to recover, but this is still a stock that is trying to break out of a base. Such a high price stock here. The buy point is $3,344.39. So you can see it topped the buy point earlier in the session, closed near its session low. So there were some sellers in Amazon stock today, but chart is not damaged by any means. It did close below the buy point, but we're still keeping this one on breakout watch.
Yes, on breakout watch indeed. And, we'll see if it can continue to climb higher, if that relative strength line can continue to climb higher with it. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. And you can be sure the conversation will continue tomorrow morning on IBD Live. And just letting everyone know, we have a flash sale for a 3 free week trial if you have not checked out IBD Live yet. Ken, give us a little bit of your thoughts on IBD Live. It's a great community.
I think people can just go to investors.com/IBD Live and get a free trial. And every morning we go on air about 10 minutes before the market open, and we usually go for a full hour and a half thereabouts of just talking about stocks on the move in the early going, looking at just stocks that are nearby points. It's really just about looking at the most actionable names at any given time. And with the market in a confirmed uptrend, we've certainly had a lot of great opportunities in recent weeks.
Yeah, it's so awesome because we're focusing on those actionable names, but at the same time, giving you that broader step back perspective of what's happening in the market and portfolio strategies to boot. So we hope you join us once again, investors.com/IBD Live for more details on that. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.